Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna show you how we can solve this problem in the LeetCode, find the closest palindrome using, again, test-driven development. So I'm only focusing on how we can do these things properly, like passing the test, and I'm not going to talk about the efficiency on the algorithm stuff. So we can focus only on how we can solve this problem using TDD itself. So without further ado, let's go to fix this problem. So guys, if you go to the leetcode.com, you could search this problem, which is define the closest palindrome. These problems wants us to, for example, we are having the input of the n is equal to 123, and the output should be the palindrome of the nearest, but it should be not itself. For example, if I have input the 1 to 1 here, the problem should be not itself. It should be a value which is the nearest palindrome, but it should be the lower one. It should be the small one, like this one here. And we could find, for example, the left or the small difference and the bigger difference, and find the closest between those two by specifying this sentence here and counting the absolute of both values and choose the minimum for that. Yeah, without further ado, let's do that. Again, let's open the Xcode itself and let's go with macOS framework again, and let's copy, find the closest palindrome here. Let's go, and next let's save it somewhere with Git. As usual, let's try to run the test and see whether we have a clean state or not. Great, we have a clean state, and let's start from the red state or the failed test. So I'm going to fail here, and let's command U again here. Okay, great. So it seems like we have a good start here. So what can we do is let's go back to the problem here. For example, I have this input, the output should be 1 to 1. And is there any another case that we can paste? Okay, this one should be 1 to 3, should be 1 to 1 here, and the other one should be 1, and I believe that should be 0, right? So we could copy in here. Let's have a note out there. It should be become 1 to 1, and if I have single digit, we should have don't cast to 0 here. So how do we do this? Well, actually we could for example, if we have 1 to 3 here, then what we can do is convert that into an integer of 1 to 3, right? And if we already have that integer, we could iterate through the left of the 1 to 3 and the right of the 1 to 3. So we could, for example, we want to find the nearest palindrome to the left of 1 2 3, so that should be 1 to 1, right? And the next step is you want to find the nearest palindrome which is greater than 1 to 3, and I believe it should be 131, right? So we got two closest one here, and we could compare if 1 to 1 is smaller than 131, then we could just return 1 to 1 and convert that into a string here. So that's how we could solve that. So let's try to solve first. For example, we want to convert our number here to 1 to 1, right? So we want to working on the find the smallest palindrome on the left side, right? So we could find left palindrome here, or smallest, or left side palindrome should find left side. Okay, so what we're going to do, we need the program here, right? We will call the sut.findLeftSide side palindrome of the text of the for example 1 2 3, and we have the result, and we will have the result, right? And the result, I'm expecting that result is equal to 1 to 1 here. So let's try to run, and of course we don't have the program struct. Let's try to create that struct program, and we don't have this function, and let's create that function with the argument of text of type string here, and I believe it should return let's return a number here, or maybe a string here. Let's return a string as well. Let's return empty string for now. Let's run the test, and let's see. We should have like a failing test because we are expecting that into like 1 to 1 instead of like empty string. So good. Let's make the test pass by just returning 1 to 1 for right now. Yep, the test is passing. I believe we can commit here. So let's try to commit. Find left side palindrome delivers left side value, for example. Oh, I have like typo here. Let's fix that quick. Here, commit. Yep. And I believe I need to like increase the test cases. So this is done, and I need to like convert this one into 0, right? So let's try to cover that scenario as well. Oh, this is a typo. Let's fix the typo first. Should fine here, left side. Okay, fix typo there, and let's copy and paste, and I believe should be find left side on single digit, for example, because I want to have like only 1 digit here, and I believe the return should be 0, right? And let's run this again, and this test should fail because we are forcing that into 1 to 1. And now we need to like do the logic here, right? So how do I do that? First, I want to like making things simple, so let's try to like convert this into a string, so we don't like to convert that inside here. So let's try to make things simple here, and this should be like an integer, and that should return an integer, right? And let's run this again, and should be failing here only. Great. And how do we like do this? Let's rename this API again. It's not a text, it's so let's find the text here, and let's replace into a number here. Place. Great. We have a great API here. Okay, so how to like do this? First, we want to like keep scanning from that number to the left side and find whether we have a palindrome or not. If we have that palindrome, and if it is not itself, then we could return that palindrome, right? So how do we like tell the program to scan through the left side? Well, we could use like while loop. Well, we not found the result, which means that while the result is equal to nil here, then if the current number is palindrome, right? If the current number is palindrome, and current number is not equal to the original number on the start, then I believe we could store the results to the current number. I believe we could like return the result number there. I believe that should do it, and let's solve this one by one. So what is this result? This result is an integer, optional integer. right? And let's run the test again and see what is this current number. The current number is the like every number that is going to be like iterated from that number into like -1 every time. We are going to check that. So this current number is going to be starting from that number, right? And what is this is palindrome here. It's an extension of integer, and we could have like computer property is palindrome of boolean, and how to like state that integer is a palindrome or not. If we could just return that self as a string here, should be equal to that string dot reversed, and should be convert that into a string again here. I believe that should cover the palindrome scenario here. So let's make this private, and I still like to use this bang operator, and let's try to use that for a moment, and I believe that should do it. Let's try to run and let's see what happened. Okay, seems like we have an infinity loop here. So while so I forgot something. So when we are trying to keep iterating through that, this looping, we need to like tell our loop that, hey, our current number is going to be every number on the left. So our current number here should be -1 on each iteration, right here. So let's try to run again. Command U and see, there you are. We have a green state here, green test, which is pretty good. So I believe we could commit here. Let's commit that we can find left side palindrome here. Can find the left side palindrome. Let's commit. And how about the right side? I believe I should do that test as well, and this should be like find right side palindrome, and from the 1 2 3 it should be like, for example, should be like 1 3 1, right? Because we are creating our helper function here. This should be find the right side here, and this one should be like find right side. So let's run again, and we can see that the compiler is helping us. So let's try to create that function as well. Here the signature is the same here, and I don't know if you could just copy paste the logic, and let's add it. If this logic is going to the iterate to the left side, and I believe this should be like iterate to the right side, right? So this function is scanning through the right side of that particular number and find the nearest palindrome, and I believe that should do it. And let's try to run command U the test, and boom. Okay, we basically good to go. So we covered this left side finding palindrome logic and right side as well, which is pretty good. So let's try to commit. Try to commit here. What is this? Find right side palindrome. Can find the palindrome on the right side for the bigger value there. Okay, but the thing is, it is not answering our problem, which is we need to find the nearest palindromic value there. So the main function that we are going to test is this one. Test nearest palindromic value should find nearest palindrome here, and I don't know if you could just replace here and use this function here, right? And let's dismiss that, and I believe this should become that scenario as well, and here as well. and I don't think we are going to need this one, right? Because we are using this nearest palindromic function there, and we don't have that function. Let's us create that function, and that function is going to be need a number as the injected value and should return a number as well. And let's make the test failing for now. The test should be failing. Okay, so how to like make this test pass here? I believe like we could find or store the result of this two here, right? What is this? Like left palindrome is equal to find left side palindrome of the number, and the right palindrome is the find right palindrome of that number. So we could get both left and right palindrome. And let's go back to the problem here, and this problem states that we need to find the closest one, right? And the closest one is defined as the absolute difference between that integer and that palindrome here. So it's like we are going to use like diff there and absolute. So like for example, how to like determine from that number to that left palindrome, we could make a variable like left difference is equal to the absolute value of left from the number to the left palindrome here, and the right difference is another absolute value from that number into the right palindrome there, right? So we got both left and right difference there. So how to like find the minimum value? We could like using if, or there is a function and Swift that we can use like easily, like minimum difference is equal to minimum of either left or right difference here, and we could get either left or right difference, right? Either this value or that value, and we could check if our value left difference value or minimum is equal to the left difference value. It means that this left number is the smallest one. Then we could just return the left palindrome. Otherwise we could just return the right palindrome there, and we could just ignore this. Yep, I believe that should do it. Let's run and see what happened. And yeah, we are still passing. I think that's pretty good. And let's commit there, show nearest palindromic number there. And I believe that should cover much of the scenario. And let's refactor, and I believe we could like use a private here because we don't need to make that as internal private. And let's run the test again, and yep, commit add private access modifiers there. And how about this one? I believe you could like simplify again, return minimum difference is equal to the left. It means that we are going to use the left palindrome, otherwise we can just use the right palindrome there. And let's command U again. Okay, we are still passing. Remove if else statement. And how about if we like doing some kind of experiment, like for example, let's add another number. Should find nearest palindrome on 2 digits. right? And what I want, like for example, let's pick a random number, 56, and it should be like 55. Here, let's run the test, right? We can still find it, and let's copy here. Basically, we can find that, and let's refactor this one. Should find on single digit there, on single digit, and that one should find on, for example, 3 digits. There, let's do that again. Rename functions, name test functions. And what else we can improve that? So I believe we can like try to match the API from the leetcode question, because it wants us to import a string and return a string as well. So yep, we could mimic that scenario, but the string could be empty, right? So let's try to input an empty string. Should return empty on empty string number. There, the number should be a string and the output should be a string. This one should convert it into a string here, this one as well, and this one as well, this one as well. And yeah, let me like just quickly edit this, click and click and click, and put that string there. Let's run, and of course the test is going to tell us, hey, the type is not a string. So you could like convert here above, so it's like a string that should return a string, and I believe I need to convert that number into a string of number there. Let's just change the arguments, for example, and here and there, and let's command U. Oh yeah, sorry, this should be like integer, convert that into a number there, and it's returning on optional, so you could like guard let, and otherwise you can just return empty. And let's try, and how about this one? I need to convert that into a string, so why not convert that into a string? So let's try to convert that into a string here, or we could just like use this style, and let's command U. This number is going to be like 3n here. Okay, seems like it is still working. Or we could just like improve this kind of scenario by making another like if or here and. Or we can just like improve another like this scenario. If it is empty here, of course it is going to be like failing to make a number here, but by the design it should be like n is like number dot is empty, then just return this guy here. But yeah, I think that's kind of the same thing, because if it is empty, then it is going to be fail anyway. So yeah, I think that's fine. So you don't include that. So let's try to run the test again. Yep, I think that should do it, guys. I believe we can commit this. So adjust leetcode function signature. Okay. So there you are, how we can apply our find the closest palindrome problem from leetcode into a problem that is work with TDD approach. So we can solve that one by one, and the code is going to be evolved. First, we make this as the non-private API. We could test it in isolation, and this one as well. And since we are using this public API here or the internal here, and then we could just like make this as a private, and we can test this, I mean like this one in integration with this one, and same goes with this one, right? So I believe that's all. Let me know in the comment if I may miss something or anything that you would like to add. Yep, I think that's how we can do that in TDD and nail this kind of algorithm problem. So thanks for watching, and see you the next time. Bye.